Weather sucks. I think my energy sucks too. Whatever though. Just gonna get out here, get some hammer practice done. Focus mostly on the heavy hammer, and then I might take 3 or 4 throws with the light hammer. Work on normal positions, stand right side, and trying to develop some speed on the hammerhead. I think my technique is pretty well ingrained, and I can just really just work on getting a lot of speed. That's going to take me to that next level where I need to be. So, rain sucks though. It's June 4th right now. That means we got about 25 days until the Alaska Open Highland Games in Palmer. That's a good amount of time to really start ramping things up. You know, for me, I don't like to go several months practicing at a really high intensity. I get enough to keep it in there. But over these next 3 weeks, I'm really going to have to ramp it up. Frequency is going to have to go up with pretty much all the throws. Got a goal to actually practice stones, which I don't practice a lot. But in the group I'm in, I think every place is going to matter. It's a really stacked group, as I've said multiple times, with the getting on the podium for the overall going to be a tough endeavor for sure. So, practice more frequently, get several, multiple practices on hammers and weights per week, get some stones practice in, and of course height events at least once a week. So, getting hyped up though. Typical hammer practice for me looks, depending on how the body's feeling, how many reps I do, but usually I'll get some winds in, left and right, and then I try to really work on practicing the wind in drops, because when it comes to a game, that's all I really have for a warm-up. So I like to try to make sure that I'm really dialing that in as a good primer for full throws, rather than just get into the full throws. So I'll do that. Probably get at least 3 of those in, and then move on to some single winds. And I might not do very many of those, but really with the single winds, all I'm trying to do is work on getting a nice, good push at the finish to reinforce that movement pattern. So I don't really need very many of those as long as I feel like I'm hitting. And then I'll go into full throws, and I throw the heavy a lot more than the light, especially early season. And I'll throw the heavy hammer 6 to 10 times, and then if I'm going to get any light hammer in, it'll just be a handful of throws. But again, building on speed, and if I can build speed with the 22, I think that building speed with the 16 will be there for me. The bridge between the 22 and the 16, the difficult thing to bridge is maintaining positions with all the extra speed you get, because the implement is lighter, and it does sometimes get away from you and you lose it a little bit. So that's what we're doing. Along with the rain, I think it's like 45 degrees right now, which for me is not that cold, but it does take a little bit longer to find your groove and get everything, all the muscles warm enough to get long like you need to be in the hammer. So, I don't know. Cones right now, we got first cone's 100, then 110, 120. I got the 120 out there for the light. I might hit that, might not. But, I kind of have this minimum. I need to be, even when I'm not putting in 100% effort, I do need to be in that 100-foot range for the heavy hammer. I don't have to blast it way out past that, but it's kind of the tail. At 100 feet, that means that I had the effort necessary to to mimic the positions that I'm going to need for 110, which is the ultimate goal for the season, is to get up and throw in at the 110-foot mark. So, like I said, first cone's out there. Already hit it a couple of times, so think it's there. I think mostly going right. I got to work on get my hips shifted side to side a little bit, I think, to help with the balance. I don't know how well you can hear me right now, but the F-22s, the military's doing some training using our airport for some operation stuff. A couple of F-22s that are out flying around. It's probably a C-17 going to be hitting the air soon, so it's really loud in Kenai when that happens. We're going to build on that last one. That was about 108 probably. And honestly, if I'm looking at that, as far as technical proficiency, it was definitely subpar. But I was able to find some power and some speed into it, so can't be mad at it as far as the distance. But I think we do better. Yeah, mid. A little better technique, I think, but didn't have all the power into it. There's one element missing that I think kind of took away from the height, I guess, the hang time. And for me, what I do know is hang time translates to going a little bit further. If I get too flat too soon in my orbits and my winds, then I'm gonna be too flat coming off. I don't get the height, so the velocity on the implement won't matter as much. Also, it's easier to gain speed, use gravity to help you gain speed if you got a steeper orbit to begin with. At least for me, that's true. If you're a shorter thrower, I'm only 6 foot tall, much taller throwers than me out there, but if you're a shorter thrower, you do have to get pushed out in front of you a little bit. But so on this one, I'm going to do my best to do my entry cast to result in a higher first wind, and then of course they'll flatten out a little bit thereafter, but I'm going to try to get that wind higher on the beginning to use some gravity to get speed early on so I can get more speed at the end. All right, probably make this one the last one for the heavy hammer, and then we'll see what that light hammer's like. It's getting a little wet over there. I don't know if I like that. I got short. All right, never mind. Ditching the idea of the light hammer. It got pretty wet sitting out here in the rain, so I'd rather not. I've been somewhat injured before by trying to throw a wet hammer that I couldn't hold on to real well. You know, a little moisture got on the handle, causing me to slip a little bit, and it kind of reacted by like shortening my bicep real quick and caused a little bit of a strain that took me a few weeks to get over. So sometimes you gotta know when it just ain't worth it. So no go on the hammer, no go on the light hammer anyway, and we'll pick that up another day. Got 8 solid full throws in, plus a few training drills as well. That's 8 with a heavy hammer is not a bad number. On a day where I had more energy and maybe it was a little warmer, I probably would have gone, you know, in the neighborhood of 10, 12, 14 throws. But I can't be mad about the distances. Definitely some technical things to work on. You can tell I haven't. I mean, other than I threw last week, I threw the hammer after throwing weights. But before that, it'd been at least a week. So really, I think the recipe is for me I got to throw the hammers more than once a week, at least twice a week, and get that volume and frequency up a little bit, so stay smoother between practices. That's going to be the key. You know, be right out front with my goals. I plan on podium at the Alaska Games in the hammer, and to do that, I think I need 110, 130, and those will both be PRs for me by a couple of feet. So I think I'm there. You know, I'll bet on myself a little bit. I just got to do the work. You know, it won't come without effort, but I'm willing to put the effort in. Thinking like Scott Farr, you know, he's going to be tough to beat in the hammers if he's on. He's a guy 110, 130. That's kind of what he's shooting for as well. So sights are on him. I don't know who else is going to be on with hammers. You know, Kyle Lilly. I know he's capable. He's done it before. Those numbers. We'll see where he is this year. I know he's refined his technique a little bit. But hey, I'm willing to give that guy a run for his money, at least in hammers anyway. So there will be some good throws. The whole field is going to be stacked, and we're going to have to get points. You know, all of us are going to have to get our points in our best events for sure to even stand a chance at the podium. So I'm looking forward to the challenge. I am really up for it. Getting really excited about it. Having this many talented throwers come to my home state to compete against me has me pretty hyped up. So these next 3 weeks of training, they're going to be hard. They're going to be consistent. They're going to be intentional, and we're going to do some big things in Alaska. Put on a show for the home crowd. So. All right, well, that's it for training today. Hope your day isn't gloomy and rainy and wet and nasty where you are, but if it is, fuck it, do it anyway. All right.